Thank you very much, Representative Ball. And now to the most important part of this press conference, and that's we'll have the opportunity to hear from families that this disease impacts and who have to deal with this every day. And this is who we're here working for during our stay here in Lansing. So first, I would like to bring up, is it Mara, husband, to share her personal experience. She has a daughter, Sophia, who's 3.5 years old, diagnosed in January 2007. Please, I believe you represent Autism Speaks as well, right?
Yes, in a roundabout way.
Okay, well, great. Please welcome Mrs. Husband.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I am so grateful to Representatives Kathy Anger, Richard Ball, and Senator Hunter for their leadership in sponsoring the House legislative bills and Senate bills 784 and 785. These bipartisan bills are of monumental importance to so many parents in Michigan. When they are passed into law, Michigan will join other states leading the way in insurance reform to ensure that we're meeting the needs of children with autism. The autism epidemic is real. The CDC now reports that 1 in 150 children is being diagnosed with autism. Whether the citizens of Michigan realize this or not, the impact of the autism epidemic affects every taxpayer. The manner in which we address this crisis now is critical for the lives of thousands of children and their families in our state. According to the CDC website, quote, "It is important that we treat common developmental disabilities, and especially autism, as conditions of urgent public health concern, do all we can to identify children's learning needs, and start intervention as early as possible to give all children the chance to reach their full potential," end quote. The sad fact is, many of these children do not have access to the treatments they need. In April of 2003, on the State of Michigan website, Governor Granholm stated, quote, "Autism spectrum disorders are more common than Down syndrome, diabetes, muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, and many forms of childhood cancer," end quote. Yet children diagnosed with all of those diseases have the ability to have their treatments covered by insurance companies. This legislation is unbelievably important to me and my family. My 3.5-year-old daughter, Sophia, was diagnosed in January of 2007 with autism. After extensive research and networking, we discovered that early intervention and intensive treatment are Sophia's best chance of becoming a productive tax-paying adult in Michigan. Developmental pediatricians have prescribed 20 to 40 hours of intensive behavior therapy per week to even begin to allow Sophia the chance to recover from autism, which costs $3,500 to $6,000 per month and $40,000 to $60,000 per year at private clinics and preschools. The referrals for therapy were denied by my insurance company. I appealed the denials, but again was denied coverage of Sophia's prescribed treatment. I was told by my insurance company they don't cover treatments for autism. There are no additional riders I can purchase to cover autism. And I was told by my employer that there are no insurance policies available to purchase that would cover treatment for autism. My insurance company discriminates against my daughter. I began spending my savings to pay for the treatment my insurance would not cover, her public schools would not provide, and the state did not offer. Next, we secured a home equity loan, and the 401k is next on the list. My daughter does not speak, but with these therapies, she's learning signs in order to communicate. I'm unable to afford the 20 to 40 hours of prescribed therapy. Instead, my husband and I have to choose 1 or 2 months next year where we will spend our thousands so that Sophia will talk. However, Sophia is a lucky little girl. I'm sorry. She's a lucky little girl because she has parents who have economic resources available to give her a better chance at a productive life. Sorry. My speech was already long, so this is going to screw it up really bad. Even more concerning are the children with autism whose parents don't have savings or equity or 401ks to tap from. Insurance companies are able to discriminate against all children diagnosed with autism in Michigan. These children are not receiving anything close to what they require to overcome the obstacles in their way. Several states are providing this intense therapy for children because they know it's most effective treatment for children who are severely affected. They also realize that intensive therapy invested in these children now will save them millions in tax dollars in the future. Autism costs the U.S. $90 billion per year, and that cost is expected to double by 2017. Though I worry and stress daily about my daughter's future, I now have hope. I have hope that the legislation we're talking about today will be passed into law, allowing Sophia the opportunity for treatment she so desperately needs, so that she will be a working, tax-paying resident of the great state of Michigan. For more information or to become more involved, see the AIM blog site at autisminsurancemichigan.blogspot.com. Thank you.
and Mara's husband is also here, John, videoing in the second row here. Thank you both for coming today. The next speaker we have is Stephanie Harlan. She's a parent and director of Autism Connections at the Judson Center in Royal Oak. She has a son, 8.5-year-old Justin, who was diagnosed at 2.5 and decertified at age 5. And so when you listen to Stephanie's story, you're going to certainly understand the importance of early diagnosis, number one, and the treatment program that she has for her son. With that, Steph.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Harlan, and my 8.5-year-old son Justin was diagnosed with autism 6 years ago. During these past 6 years, I've spent approximately $67,000 on various therapies for him because my insurance plan would not pay for these interventions. Although I had good insurance, I soon learned that even the best insurance plan does not cover the diagnosis of autism in the state of Michigan. However, when my son was labeled with this so-called lifelong disability, I refused to give up. When I was told there was no coverage for autism, I took out loans and I racked up huge amounts on my credit cards. With speech therapy twice a week for 2 years at the cost of $76 per half hour, my son went from being completely nonverbal at age 3 to being able to read, write, and express himself at a 6th grade level today at age 8. With occupational therapy twice a week for a year at the cost of $126 per hour, my son went from gagging and screaming at the mere sight of a disliked food to eating just about anything that was put on his plate. We created a home behavioral program for him to receive the kind of intensive, individualized instruction that research said was necessary for children with autism to succeed. We paid therapists to come to our house 20 hours per week for almost a year. The total amount of time that he was getting in the federally mandated early intervention program at school was only 2 hours per week. We have spent well over $20,000 on medical treatment for my son, none of which has been covered by his insurance plan. Justin was a very sick little boy with frequent infections, illnesses, and gastrointestinal problems. None of the doctors on my insurance plan were able to help. One gastroenterologist actually told me that diarrhea was just a symptom of autism, and that most kids with autism will never get potty trained. I finally found a pediatrician who understood autism and has helped to find the underlying causes of many of Justin's symptoms. Medical treatment helped my son's body function normally again, but my insurance did not recognize this form of treatment. Once his body started to heal, Justin was able to learn better, and his progress in therapy went through the roof. By age 5, he was decertified in school. He no longer met criteria for special education. Private evaluations found a similar result, that while he always may have some residual symptoms of autism, he no longer met the diagnostic criteria for autism. My story has a happy ending, but not all families are so lucky. Today, Justin is a happy, healthy, well-adjusted little boy with many friends. He has a green belt in karate. He played soccer and baseball last year. He sings in the church choir. He participates in Cub Scouts. He plays tournament chess and wants to be a second-grade teacher someday. He's a sweet and loving little boy with a heart of gold. Sometimes I wonder what he'd be like today if I hadn't spent his future college tuition and then some by the time he was 4 years old. Would he be talking? Would he have friends? Would he be able to grow up someday and realize his dream of becoming a teacher? And would he be happy? Another question that plagues me is, what about all those other families that don't have the resources to get their children the services they know would make a difference? Why should one child's future be dictated by the resources their family has or by the state in which he or she lives? Other states have passed legislation mandating insurance coverage and prohibiting the discrimination against individuals with autism. I believe it's time for Michigan to step up to its responsibility for protecting the futures of its most vulnerable citizens, individuals with autism who so often don't have their own voice. I support legislation that takes the financial burden off the parents and requires insurance companies to provide appropriate coverage for individuals with autism. Our kids deserve that chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know,